Have you ever noticed how a girl can act completely calm on the outside, but the moment another girl gets your attention, her behavior changes instantly? She becomes colder, quieter, more emotional, or suddenly more interested in you than before. Most people think jealousy is just insecurity, but psychology says something deeper is happening. Jealousy in girls is often connected to emotional attachment, fear of replacement, hidden competition, and the need for emotional certainty. And the strange part is, many girls don't even realize they're feeling jealous until it completely changes the way they act. Human emotions are complicated, especially when attraction is involved. A girl might tell herself she doesn't care about a guy at all, but the moment she sees another girl getting close to him, her mind reacts emotionally before logic can even catch up. That's because jealousy is not just about losing someone. It's about losing emotional importance. In psychology, people don't only want attention. They want to feel special. The moment that feeling is threatened, jealousy begins to grow silently inside the mind. One of the biggest reasons girls experience jealousy is emotional investment. The more emotionally attached someone becomes, the more sensitive they become to competition. A girl who barely cares about a guy usually won't react strongly to other girls around him. But when feelings grow deeper, even small things start affecting her emotionally. She notices who liked his photo. She notices who he talks to more. She notices changes in his energy, response time, and attention. Her brain starts collecting tiny details automatically because emotionally attached people naturally become more alert to threats. This is called emotional monitoring in psychology. When someone becomes important to us, our mind starts protecting that emotional connection without us realizing it. That's why jealousy often appears silently at first. It starts with overthinking, comparison, and emotional sensitivity before turning into obvious behavior. What makes jealousy more powerful in girls is that many girls are taught to hide it instead of expressing it directly. Instead of saying, "I'm jealous," they might become distant, passive-aggressive, sarcastic, quieter, or emotionally confusing. Some girls suddenly stop replying fast. Some act colder than usual. Some try to make the other person jealous back. And others suddenly seek more attention from the same guy they were ignoring before. Psychologists call this indirect emotional expression. Instead of openly admitting vulnerable feelings, people express them through behavior changes. This happens because jealousy makes people feel emotionally exposed. Admitting jealousy feels like admitting emotional dependence, and many people fear losing power by showing that vulnerability. So instead of communicating honestly, they protect their ego through emotional games, silence, or attitude changes. Another reason jealousy becomes intense is social comparison. Girls naturally compare themselves with other girls more than most people realize. Social media made this even stronger. Every photo, story, like, comment, or follow can trigger subconscious comparison. A girl might see another girl and instantly compare beauty, confidence, body language, popularity, or attention levels. The dangerous part is that comparison usually happens automatically. The brain constantly measures, "Am I enough?" against other people. When a girl feels another girl has qualities she lacks, jealousy becomes emotionally painful because it attacks self-worth. Suddenly, it's not only about losing attention. It becomes about feeling replaceable. And psychologically, the fear of being replaceable can deeply affect confidence and emotional stability. But here's something most people misunderstand about jealousy. Jealousy is not always a sign of love. Sometimes it's a sign of ego attachment. A girl may not deeply love someone, but she still wants validation, attention, or emotional control from them. When another girl enters the picture, jealousy appears because her emotional position feels threatened. In psychology, humans often become attached to how someone makes them feel rather than the person themselves. Attention creates emotional reward in the brain. Compliments, texting, validation, and focus trigger dopamine, the chemical linked to pleasure and emotional reinforcement. So when that attention shifts elsewhere, the brain reacts emotionally, almost like withdrawal. This is why some girls suddenly become interested only after seeing competition. It's not always genuine love. Sometimes it's the fear of losing emotional validation. Interestingly, jealousy can also increase attraction. This is called pre-selection psychology. When girls see that other girls are interested in a man, his perceived value often increases automatically. The brain assumes, if others want him, he must have something valuable. This is connected to social proof, a psychological phenomenon where people trust something more when others desire it too. That's why sometimes a girl who ignored a guy for months suddenly becomes curious when another girl enters his life. Competition creates urgency. The human brain often values things more when they feel harder to get or easier to lose. And emotionally, jealousy creates that pressure instantly. However, jealousy becomes toxic when it turns into obsession or control. Healthy jealousy is normal. It simply shows emotional attachment and fear of loss. But unhealthy jealousy creates manipulation, emotional testing, controlling behavior, and constant suspicion. Some girls begin checking every detail obsessively. They overanalyze social media activity, become emotionally reactive over small interactions, or create loyalty tests to feel secure. Psychologists say this often comes from anxious attachment styles developed during childhood or past relationships. When someone grows up experiencing emotional inconsistency, abandonment, or betrayal, they may become hypersensitive to rejection later in life. Their brain constantly searches for signs that they might be replaced or hurt again. So jealousy becomes less about the present situation and more about past emotional wounds repeating themselves. One of the most fascinating things about jealousy is that it can completely change behavior patterns. A normally calm girl may become emotionally reactive. A distant girl may suddenly become clingy. A confident girl may become insecure. Jealousy activates fear, and fear changes human behavior faster than logic does. Neuroscience shows that emotional threats activate survival responses inside the brain. Even though jealousy is emotional, the brain treats social rejection similarly to physical danger. That's why jealousy can feel so intense. The mind sees emotional replacement as a threat to identity, security, and self-worth. And because emotions are stronger than logic in emotionally charged situations, people often behave irrationally without fully understanding why. At the same time, some girls use jealousy intentionally as a strategy. They might mention other guys, post certain stories, or seek attention publicly to trigger emotional reactions. This is called jealousy induction. Psychologically, it's often used to test emotional value. They want reassurance that they still matter emotionally. If the other person reacts strongly, it confirms attachment. But these emotional games can become dangerous because they create confusion instead of trust. Real emotional connection grows through communication, not manipulation. Yet many people continue using jealousy because it creates emotional intensity, and emotional intensity can sometimes feel similar to love. The truth is, jealousy reveals what people fear losing the most. Sometimes it's love, sometimes it's attention, sometimes it's validation, and sometimes it's the feeling of being emotionally important to someone. Girls are not crazy for feeling jealous. Jealousy is a deeply human emotion connected to attachment, insecurity, comparison, fear, and emotional survival. The real difference is how someone handles it. Emotionally mature people communicate honestly and seek clarity. Emotionally immature people play games, manipulate, or hide their feelings behind silence and attitude. And understanding this psychology helps you see beyond behavior itself. Because often, behind jealousy is not hatred, but fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of being replaced. Fear of losing emotional connection. And sometimes, the people who act the coldest emotionally are actually the ones feeling the deepest emotions inside. So the next time you notice jealousy in a girl, don't just look at the surface behavior. Look at the psychology underneath it. Human emotions are rarely simple. Jealousy is not just anger. It's attachment mixed with fear, comparison mixed with insecurity, and love mixed with uncertainty. And when you truly understand that, you stop seeing jealousy as random drama and start seeing it as a window into human emotions themselves.